Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. After hearing this energy, Chakra Prabhu and Vishnu Priya, what's going on? I mean, such energy, and it enlivens the temple. And I honestly feel so totally unqualified to even speak before you. Such sweet energy. So regardless of how long I have been in the movement, at this time I feel that I should say, if there are any mistakes I made, Krishna's allowing me and he's giving me the mercy, and I'm trying to represent as best I can my Gurudev. So please forgive any offenses, anything that's not pronounced properly. Ordinarily I don't worry about it, but such energy here, it's like I got to give you the best I can. So whatever Guru and Krishna allow me to give you, I'm giving. This is, ordinarily, I'm used to talking to their lordships. This is such a nice crowd. I know this is not part of the class, but this is such a nice crowd. This is such energy that is coming in the temple. And this is what attracted me to the Dham. Jai Shri Shri Radha Kalachandji Ki Jai. Jai. This is what attracted me to the temple, and it enlivens me to feel it coming back again. So we're discussing Canto 9, Chapter 8, Text 1 through 13. And we're, it is talking about the, let's see, Lord Kapila Dev and Sagata and the sons that are an issue. But before we do that, we always like to get in the mood by singing Jaya Radha Madhava. This is nice. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jararanjanan Yashoda Nandana Braja Jararanjanan Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yashoda Nandana Braja Jararanjanan. Yashoda Nandana Braja Jararanjanan. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Kalachandji, Radha Kalachandji Radhe. Jaya Radha Kalachandji, Radha Kalachandji Radhe. Jaya Jaya Jagannath, 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 Jaya Jaya Jagannath. Jaya Jaya Baladev, 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 Jaya Jaya Baladev. Jaya Jaya Subhadra, 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 Jaya Jaya Subhadra. Jaya Jaya Gornitai, 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 Jaya Jaya Gornitai. Nitai Guru Haribol, 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 Nitai Guru Haribol. Nitai Guru Haribol, 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 Nitai Guru Haribol. Jai Shri Shri Radhakala Chandji Ki Jai, Jai Shri Shri Damodar Astaga Ki Jai. Actually, after all of this energy, what is the use of me giving a class? It has been given by this energy. Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't think the class is going to handle that. So chapter 8 of Canto 9, this could really be like a 10-minute class, but I don't know if Nanda Braj is going to be real happy if I just do this for 10. He probably wouldn't care because you will just be happy. That's who you are. You're growing into that very nicely. But the chapter is on the sons of Sagara meeting Lord Kapila Dev. And we're going to read 1 through 13 and then focus on text 11. So I know we're working on the process of how the class goes, but I am so used to doing this. Om Namo, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Gnanatimarandasya Gananjanan Shalakaya Chakshun Militam Nena Tashmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Nena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadandikam Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhya Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadaraha Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So now would you like to start reading? Let's see, text 1, and then we'll just go around, or whoever feels so enlivened to read, please do so. Yes.
Shukadeva Goswami continued, the son of Rohita was Harita, and Harita's son was Champa, who constructed the town of Champapuri. The son of Champa was Sudeva, and his son was Vijaya.
The son of Vijaya was Baruka. Baruka's son was Vrika, and Vrika's son was Bahuka. The enemies of King Bahuka took away all his possessions, and therefore the king entered the order of Vanasprastha and went to the forest with his wife.
Bahuka died when he was old, and one of his wives wanted to die with him following the sati rite. At that time, however, Urva Muni, knowing her to be pregnant, forbade her to die.
Knowing that she was pregnant, the co-wives of the wife of Bahuka conspired to give her poison with her food, but it did not act. Instead, the son was born along with the poison. Therefore, he became famous as Sagara, one who is born with poison. Sagara later became the emperor. The place known as Ganga Sagar was excavated by his sons.
Sagara Maharaj, following the order of his spiritual master Orva, did not kill the uncivilized men like Talajangas, Yavanas, Sakas, Hayas, and Barbaras. Instead, some of them he made dressed awkwardly, some of them he shaved clean but allowed to wear mustaches, some of them he left wearing loose hair, some he half shaved, some he left without underwear, and some without external garments. Thus these different clans were made to dress differently, but King Sagara did not kill them.
Following the instructions of the great sage Aurava, Sagara Maharaj performed Aswamedha sacrifices and thus satisfied the Supreme Lord, who is the Supreme Controller, the Supersoul of all learned scholars, and the knower of all Vedic knowledge, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But Indra, the King of Heaven, stole the horse meant to be offered at the sacrifice.
King Sagara had two wives, Sumati and Keshini. The sons of Sumati, who were very proud of their prowess and influence, following the order of their father, searched for the lost horse. While doing so, they dug into the earth very extensively.
Thereafter, in the northeastern direction, they saw the horse near the ashram of Kapila Muni. Here is the man who stole the horse, they said. He is staying there with closed eyes. Certainly he is very sinful. Kill him! Kill him! Shouting like this, the sons of Sagara, 60,000 altogether, raised their weapons. When they approached the sage opened his eyes.
Text 12 or 11. By the influence of Indra, the king of heaven, the sons of Sagara had lost their intelligence and disrespected a great personality. Consequently, fire emanated from their own bodies and they were immediately burned to ashes.
It is sometimes argued that the sons of King Sagara were burned to ashes by the fire emanating from the eyes of Kapila Muni. This statement, however, is not approved by great learned persons. For Kapila Muni's body is completely in the mode of goodness and therefore cannot manifest the mode of ignorance in the form of anger, just as the pure sky cannot be polluted by the dust of the earth.
Text 13. Kapila Muni enunciated in this material world the Sankhya philosophy, which is a strong boat with which to cross over the ocean of nations. Indeed, a person eager to cross the ocean of material world may take shelter of this philosophy. In such a greatly learned person situated on the elevated platform of transcendence, how can there be any distinction between enemy and friend?
So now we'll focus on text 11. And always it is good to pray to Guru before trying to offer to the group and to Krishna. Very important. And I think that anyone that comes, that sits on this Vyasasana or sits up here, should be representing their guru as best as possible. So I'm just saying that to say that if I make a mistake, it's not on my guru, it's on me. So, Jai Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Shri Gaura Bhaktananda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. The let's see, text 11. Let me not try to impress you and pretend like I can see this. Swasaran Ninatavan Mahendra Rita Chetasha Mahadviyati Kramahata Bashmasad Abhavan Kashanat Swasarigna Tavan Mahendra Rita Chetasa Mahadviyata Kramahata Basmasad Abhavan Kashatnat Swasadignana Tavan Mahindra Rita Chatasa Mahaviyata Krima Hata Bashmasad Abhavan Kasanat. Would someone try to tackle that too? Swasadiragna Tavan Mahendrari Tachetasa Mahadhyata Kramahata Amasvara Abhavan Kasma Swasaringanatha Bhavan Mahindra Rita Kachetasa Mahadvyata Kram Hata Vamasvad Abhavan Kasnat. Anyone else? Swasarigna Tavan Mahendra Hita Chesasa Mahadvaji Kramatata Vasmasat Abhavan Kasnat Swasarigna Tavan Mahendra Rita Chetasaha Mahadvyatikrama Vasmasat Abhavan Sanat Swasarina Vatavan Mahendrarita Chetasaha Mahadiyat Kramahata Tasmasavada Bhavan Tasmat. So, Swa Sarira Agnina. By the fire emanating from their own bodies. Tavat, immediately. Mahendra, by the tricks of Indra, the king of heaven. Rita Chetasaha, their consciousness having been taken away. Mahat, a great personality. Vyatramahataha, defeated by the fault of insulting. Basmasat, turned to ashes. Abhavan, became. Sanat, immediately. Translation here, by the influence of Indra, the king of heaven, the sons of Sagara had lost their intelligence and disrespected a great personality. Consequently, fire emanated from their own bodies, and they were immediately burned to ashes. We'll read it again, and you can read with me. By the influence of Indra, the king of heaven, the sons of Sagara, had lost their intelligence and disrespected a great personality. Consequently, fire emanated from their own bodies, and they were immediately burned to ashes. And the purport here is, the material body is a combination of earth, water, fire, air, and ether. There is already fire within the body, and our practical experience is that the heat of this fire sometimes increases and sometimes decreases. The fire within the bodies of the sons of Sagara Maharaj became so much hotter that all of them burned to ashes. The fire's increased heat was due to their misbehavior toward a great personality. Such misbehavior is called Mahat Vyatkrama. They were killed by the fire of their own bodies because of insulting a great personality. the topic for discussion, it's always right on target and it's always appropriate. We're talking about, and if I'm incorrect, kindly correct me, but this occurred in the Satya Yuga. This is, I think, the first yuga. It's known by truthfulness, good spirituality, all of the positive qualities that we're supposed to have and acquire as devotees. And you would not imagine this taking place at a time like this, but it did. And I think, and I may go back and forth sometimes, so follow me. But I'm thinking, you don't imagine something like this, even any confrontations taking place in this yuga. But we've read from the scriptures that everything that's happening here, right now, has happened at some point in the yuga. So there should be no surprise. The scriptures have been prepared for us to learn from. There is no excuse in not being able to handle the situations. And I don't mean to be harsh, but the point is, when you come across different situations in life and it's like you're backed up against the wall, hopefully you have the proper association. Hopefully your sadhana is good. But in the event that it isn't, Prabhupada has provided instructions in all of his books. So there is no such thing as, well, this person did that, so because they're this or that, I need to follow them. No excuse. I have had the opportunity to, with the mercy of Guru and Krishna, visit different temples around the world. And the very topic here is so appropriate, and I'm not trying to address anyone in particular, but sometimes we follow people that are very good at instigating. And look at Indra. Indra's naughty. Indra is, we're going to be celebrating Govardhan Puja next Sunday. Indra is known for doing things that are against the grain of Krishna consciousness. So Sagara's sons are being influenced, 60,000 of them, by Indra. And because maybe they're looking up to him and they're thinking this powerful individual, they follow him. And they insult Kapila Dev, who is the incarnation of Krishna. I think it's very sad that sometimes we do not think for ourselves and we just follow people. There is, I know there's an old saying, it's probably a boomer saying, something about when the crowd goes that way, I go this way. And I guess I've always been like that. I've had the training of a father that was military. So I may come off a little harsh in my apologies, but, you know, we all come from where we come from. And regardless of where we come from, there is no reason why we should misbehave. There is no reason why we cannot think for ourselves. And Sagara's sons are coming from a very prominent family. And yet and still, in this age of Satya Yuga, they're being influenced in such a way that they offend a great personality. Fortunately for us, our thoughts in this age, we cannot really be punished for them, because if we were, I wouldn't be sitting here. I'm not perfect. But what we're responsible for is how we behave and how we react, regardless of where we are, regardless of what culture we're coming from. And I probably do not represent where I'm coming from properly, because when you see me, I don't just stick with one particular group of people. It's like I have to have a vast array of people to communicate with, because Krishna is the Supreme Personality of everyone. I'm going off track a little bit. And I'm saying that to say that as devotees, and most of you are initiated, and if not, most of you are aspiring to be initiated, we should be and set an example for people that come to the temple, especially people that come, during big events. They watch us. They notice how we behave and how we interact. And based on that, they act. Just using that as an example, because Sagara's sons are following Indra, and because of Indra, they're hurt. And that's what usually happens. When we are in a position to insult or harm someone, ultimately we're going to suffer the most. We are definitely going to suffer the most. We're going to be harmed the most, but we don't realize it. But here's an example here that they were of such mindset and energy, and it goes on to actually tell you why and how they burn from the heat of their bodies, that they actually eliminated themselves. Over the years, in different temples, I've seen this scenario. I've seen very pukka devotees feel that based on their experience, their background, their financial Lakshmi, and that's amazing because everything that we have is Krishna. But based on that, I've seen them offend great personalities, and I've watched those offenders reap what they sowed in such a sense. And in one particular instance, it was in a temple room, and someone insulted a very great personality. And they were puffed up based on who this person was. And if you do anything, never do it on the grounds of the temple or in front of the lordship, because you're destined to be chastised. Over the years, I watched this individual, very rich, had everything that they could possibly have, and they gradually lost their everything that made them who they were. And they left their bodies in such a horrible way. I'm not saying that every time we insult someone, Krishna's going to do that. But I'm saying just be mindful of what you say and who you say it to. You never know who you're speaking with. You don't know who that person on the street is. They may look shabby. They may look like they've got absolutely nothing in the world. But inside each and every one of us is the Lord in the heart. So when we offend, we're offending that Lord in the heart. So it's very important. And Radha Kalachandji has a very good personality. People want, and yeah, I said personality because the conglomeration of all the devotees create that personality. We're working on a very good one. We've had one for a while. And what I'm saying is, don't just be a devotee here. Don't just honor Krishna here. Let people see you when they're out, and let them, even if you don't open your mouths, let them know that you are a child of the Lord, regardless of what you're able to say, regardless of what you're able to speak. You may not do the shlokas properly. You may get up and fumble the class. You may not be exactly perfect, but be an example and a representative of Krishna. In this age of Kali, even though we come to the temple, yes, we get the blessings, but the punishments are severe. That does not mean we do not have any hope for anything that we do that's wrong. As long as you're honoring Guru Krishna, your sadhana is good, and all around you're behaving in such a way, in a sincere way, as a representative of your Guru, or a representative of Krishna. No matter what is going on in the world, no matter what slips out of your mouth accidentally, and try not to let that happen either. And your actions are very powerful. If you never open up your mouth, What you do has an impact on people. Guard those things. That's very important. Krishna has given us the instructions. Srila Prabhupada has given us all of the instructions and lessons that we need in living this life. And what is happening now is that, unfortunately, we're letting things that are going on in the world impact us, and when they impact us, we do things that are silly, we do things that are not intelligent, we offend, we insult. And here is a lesson of what actually happens. When we insult someone, we're probably angry, and it's speaking of the heat that builds up in the body. It builds, it decreases, but this heat built up to the extent where the sons of Sagara were burned. Now, that's not the end of the story, but the next person that comes along and the next one will tell exactly what happens, because if you make a mistake, all is not lost. You have the opportunity of correcting it. But if we do anything, if we do nothing else, remember, we've been given so much mercy, so much benefit from Krishna, that even if we are very good at this, very good at that, expert at this, humility is extremely important. Indra did not emanate humility. It was jealousy during Govardhan Puja. And he's a demigod. All of us at some point have been some demigod, but you shouldn't behave like that. But the point is, we should watch what we do. We should react in such a way with humility. You can make a point without insulting an individual. And I'm trying to remember what point Indra was trying to make here. But all I'm getting is ego. And based on his ego, he led a group of young devotees of very pious background into oblivion. So I'm saying that no matter where you're situated in this life, use that position, use that intelligence to do something positive for Krishna. And these things that I'm speaking of, they're not on my notes. I very rarely go through my notes. I go back and I read. But I sit in front of Lord Radha Kalachandji, the altar, and it's like, use me in whatever way you want to use me. And the point that comes up is we need to be more mindful of who we are, how we represent Krishna, whether you've taken initiation or not. If you're in here, you're on a path going back home, back to Godhead. That shouldn't be your main purpose. If you're on the path, you're going to get there eventually. But we need to represent positively. We need to represent Krishna properly. And every move that we make, as much as possible, should be centered on serving Krishna, serving Guru. And as I said, if someone passes by you, they should be able to pick up that energy like, wow, this is a really special person. There's something godly-like in this person. Try to control your moods. Try to control your anger, because ultimately it will damage you more than it damages the recipient of it. This has been shown time after time. And as we exist in this world, as we know all of the issues that are going on in this world, if you listen to the news or if you read it, it's about someone whose ego is out of control. They're feeling really big, and they want to, what is the proper? They want to lash out. And this is going back and forth. And this is not only in one particular country. This is going on around the world. We would be very foolish to think we're not being affected by it, because it's being tossed at us daily. Even if you're not picking up a newspaper, You're surrounded by the energy. We are in a community of devotees, and that's absolutely wonderful. And I think it's a powerful position to be in. But the point is, don't just be a devotee on paper. Don't just be a devotee because you're dressing a certain way. Be a devotee in your heart and represent Krishna. Represent him to the best of your ability, so that if you are standing before your guru, my guru has left his body, but I've got to tell you, for any of you whose gurus have left their body, they are more present than ever before, which means I have to come correct at all times as best I can, regardless of what's going on with me. I have a responsibility to not only him, but he has a responsibility that he had to Srila Prabhupada. We've taken the teachings of Srila Prabhupada. We've taken it with an understanding. If there is no understanding of what you're reading, please reach out to someone so that you can understand it better. But have some humility in your heart. Represent properly. And as I said earlier, I have witnessed over it's almost 3 decades that I've been in ISKCON. And I may not be as active as I was before, but sometimes you have to step back and you have to meditate on what's going on around you, and you have to get better and better. But the point is, what's being spoken of in the text, and I don't mean to get away from the text, but when you get the scriptures, there's a story behind it. And I think it's important to tell the story. I think it's also important to tell the story in relation to what's going on in the world. Yes, this happened, oh my gosh, years ago. But also what happened then is happening now. And it's important to relate it. And in my heart, this is what touched me in my heart. We should represent better. We should be cautious of how we interact with people. In this particular situation, the behavior of the individual that instigated, and we have people in many temples that instigate just for the sake of instigating. That's just who they are. And when a person shows who they are, who is that, Oprah? Believe them. That's just who they are. You cannot change people. And again, I'm not speaking of anyone specifically, but on this text, what I'm saying is we're going to come across it. If you've never come across it before, you're going to come across it. Even these young devotees, you impress me. You impress me because you sit here in class, you could be somewhere else, and you're reading and you're trying to learn. Don't ever stop being who you are, because you're going to have challenges, your generation and the next. And if you learn nothing else, learn to represent Guru, Krishna. If not, represent the heritage that your parents gave you. Because this is a very important movement. It is a very serious one. It is not one to be taken lightly. It is not one to be thrown up in anyone's face because of a particular position. And even though I may be stressing that, I don't really mean to just hit you with it, but it's important how we behave. It's important how we interact. And based on the representation that Srila Prabhupada gave us, based on the representation that your guru gave us, live it to the best of your ability. And I know there's some other points, but I thought those were quite relevant. And I'm curious. Now, I'm not the only one that's been in this movement for a day or so. There are other individuals here. Does anyone want to share something, some experience that's similar to this that they've learned from? And it may not be exactly this, but share with me what you have seen happen and the end result. Because if you've watched something long enough, you've carried it to the point where something has happened, something is manifest, and hopefully something good has come from it. But can anyone relate to this scenario especially in text 11, where following someone of, okay, reputable position, statue, position, the opposite effect happened. And you noticed the end result of an insult given, acted upon, and the ramifications or the end result of it. That was too broad. Who can relate to text 11 where there was an insult and someone followed it?
Antarami,
Yes.
wonderful class. I was thinking about a situation I was in when I joined in Portland, Oregon, about 21 years ago. And at the time, it was amazing because there was about 12, 15 young 25-year-old couples that were running this temple, and like 3 brahmacharis that were around the same age. The energy was off. It was literally, when we have kirtans, the house would shake.
Wow.
I mean, it was fun. It was like the prasadam had chunks of curd like this big, you know.
My kind of prasadam.
It's like, oh, it's like, this is a dream. The thing though, with it came some young energy. With that young energy came offenses. And it was such a wonderful thing, but it fell apart because of devotees offending each other. And the guidance that was necessary just wasn't there. And it was really sad because it was something special. I remember I didn't know. To me, it was like, that's what it was, you know, because I didn't know anything different. But I heard so much, you know, I experienced things in the future. And also I heard about, you know, the senior devotees that would come there. They would be like, this feels like the old days with the old energy and stuff like that. But because of offenses, didn't last.
That's a very good point, sharing. And that last line, because of offenses, that is so key. However subtle that offense is, if you're intelligent enough to realize you've made an offense, you're intelligent enough to correct the offense. And that was one of the things, not the offense, but the energy that you're speaking of that was sweet, you know, the kirtans were good. I was not planning to come to Dallas. Dallas was not on my high list. It was not the top of my list. But what really got me is I met Nityananda Prabhu and Manjuwali, and the way they greeted me. Manjuwali, I never saw her, but I remember sitting down with Nityananda Prabhu, and we talked about, you know, Krishna and experiences, and I remember him requesting that I have a plate of prasadam. If somebody visits you and they're traveling, always leave them with a plate of prasadam. Prasadam is really a good preacher, but Manjuwali manifested a plate, never saw her, but the plate was there. The other thing that got me was this temple had different age groups that were out on the temple floor, bonding, dancing, enlivened, and I kind of felt a little bit of that this morning. That grabbed my attention. For a while I missed it. But the point is, regardless of what age we are, we should all be coming together, not just because you're this age or that. I don't operate like that, and Krishna doesn't operate like that. He takes us all together. But thank you for sharing, because that energy is what drew me to this temple. And I've been to other temples where if you walked in, you could feel the offense. You could feel the offense. It's like, oh, I want no parts of that. But it's so important because that offense is coming from, we emanate a lot of energy. We don't realize it. And as devotees, it's even stronger. It's even more potent. So it's real important how you behave outside of your house and outside of this temple. Don't just represent here. Represent properly when you walk out that door, when you, in supermarkets, wherever you are. Represent Krishna. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
maybe you've had this experience where you have some confidence in Guru and Krishna, and so you, and I don't know about you having this experience, but sometimes, of course, the false ego's in there. But you're not meaning to offend people. You're just walking with that confidence and that appreciation. And it seems like some people can take it the wrong way. And you're not meaning to hurt people. You're not meaning to disturb anyone. But you can see it happens. You can see it happens. What's if somebody was in that experience? If you could speak on that, what
I've
how
had
do we
the experience. I've had the experience, and a lot of mine is my demeanor. My dad had us when he was old, so I got a lot of his energy. So if you see me in the temple, I may not be smiling a lot. I may have this real severe energy coming. This is just me, and this is how I've been able to go from point A to point B and be here. But yes, people will misunderstand, and sometimes you'll know when it's happening. Okay, you can't correct that moment, but you could be more mindful of it. Yes, we don't mean to. People will always at some point in time misunderstand what we say, and we shouldn't have to walk around saying, I said this, but I mean that. We shouldn't. That's why the energy that we exude, the way we behave, should be representation of who we really are. You can't control what people misunderstand. Sometimes you can be fortunate enough to know when it's happening, and the next time it comes around, if it's a particular individual, interact with that individual in such a way that they know, you may have misunderstood this, but I meant that. But we always have the opportunity to correct this because Krishna gives us knowledge. If you're quiet enough, if you're sitting, if you take the opportunity, Krishna gurus, they're constantly guiding you. But as far as people misunderstanding you, you can't control it. Yes, I have had that opportunity many times, and it's like, Krishna, I'll do better, but sometimes people are just going to be that way. You can't control it.
I'm really appreciating your point that sometimes there's not things we can do, but Krishna and Guru can give us intelligence to understand the things that we can do. And when we get that intelligence, we should take action on it.
Yes.
I really appreciate that point.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we should take action on the instructions from Krishna when he's giving it, and don't ignore him. Because if you ignore him too many times, you won't be getting those insights. So he gives us instructions at all times. We're constantly getting lessons, especially in this material world. Every step we make will not be a perfect step. But as devotees, as those that worship Krishna, he will give us insight to correct. And the key thing is correct. Do better. Otherwise, that situation's going to repeat itself, and then you're going to begin to suffer in such a way as if a parent is spanking a child. You're going to be chastised. So I would rather my mom or my dad chastise me than Krishna. He's much more serious about it because there's a lot to be lost if you're not correcting your mistake or your behavior. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else want to share an experience where it's symbolic of what we just read?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
It was a wonderful class, Mataji, as always. In this particular context, I do not have any personal experience, but I would like to just recall, would like to paraphrase.
Mm-hmm.
This was in 60s, I believe, when the four sannyasis, as we read in Prabhupada Lilamrita, I guess, Brahmananda and Gargamuni, Subala, and I think Vishnujan Swami. So they were propagating the philosophy that Prabhupada is an avatar or God. Mm. So there were so many, anyways, there were some followers and they started propagating that. And when Prabhupada came to know, I think they were, if I'm not mistaken, they were temporarily banned for some time, I guess. But then the outcome was really good because of pure devotees' intervention. So he's so merciful. So he engaged Brahmananda Prabhu, and he was sent to Pakistan for preaching. So I just recollected this particular context.
So he was sent to Pakistan.
Pakistan for preaching.
Ah, and what happened after that?
So yeah, the conditions were so hostile, but he tried his best. And when he came back, this is all I can recollect. It was Ekadashi day, and Prabhupada, literally, he had tears rolling down his cheeks to see Brahmananda, and out of his love, he said, "There is Ekadashi, but you can have non-Ekadashi." Something like that.
Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada had such a big heart, such a soft heart, but it could be stern as a lion. But there's a lot to be learned from that. When someone makes a mistake, the neophyte is like, I'm not forgiving you. You hurt my feelings, I want no parts of it. Srila Prabhupada set the example where if someone does something, they're aware of it. They're aware of it when they do it most of the time. But if they make a correction, we should treat them according to the correction of the path that they're on in correcting themselves, instead of, and depending on the severity of whatever it is. But we should treat them and with an air of forgiveness like Srila Prabhupada did. It is difficult sometimes based on what happens to us, but ultimately, in order to get to the spiritual world, we're going to have to behave in such a way that we belong there. And moods and anger and all of these things that bind us and keep us in this material world will not allow us to go to the spiritual world. So every single moment we've got an opportunity to make a correction. So don't miss the opportunities, don't ignore them, use them. And besides, it is so much better to be around people when your heart isn't tight and you're not feeling anger toward them. It's blissful. Krishna Loka is blissful. We need to get in the mood of behaving in such a way that we don't copy things that are not proper to be copied, and we don't behave in such a way as we probably would not in front of our spiritual master. And that's the one thing I wanted to leave you with. You may not be perfect all the time. It's difficult. It's a challenge. It can be done. But we should behave in such a way that our spiritual master is standing right in front of us. And if that is the mood, we wouldn't be foolish in doing the things and saying the things that we do if we realize that he's in front of us. But he's there with us, period. He is always with us. So we should be behaving in such a way to please spiritual master and to please spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you so much. Anyone else before we close? Any of these little young souls? Did anybody offend you? Anybody insult you? If they did, you tell Mama or tell Antaryami. She'll deal with them. Okay, so
I think they're young bodies, old souls.
oh, these are definitely old souls. Otherwise, why are you sitting here? Why are you reading? Why are you so quiet? You've done this before in a previous life. You've done it. We've got old souls. The Gurukul is full of old souls. Yes. And my respect, my admiration increases for them when I see them. And to the parents, your parents are behind all of this. And Krishna's mercy to your parents, because it is not easy to be in this world, and it is not easy to raise a young person in this world. So we've got all the backings to make it possible. So if no one has anything else, I'd like to say thank you so much for tolerating me, whatever it is. If something was misstated or something, forgive me, my apologies. But I'm trying to serve in the best way possible. And anyone that sits there is not going to be perfect all the time. If they are, my dandavats to them. But thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Shri Radha Kalachandji Dham ki jai. Kripa Sindubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
धर्म संस्थापक लोकानां हितकारिणं त्रिभुवने मन्नं शरणं धर्म संस्थापक लोकानां हितकारिणं त्रिभुवने मन्नं शरणं धर्म संस्थापक लोकानां हितकारिणं त्रिभुवने मन्नं शरणं चैतन्य कृपा पर लोकानां